Morning. Are we live? Yes, we are. Good morning. How are we doing? If you are coming in, give me a hello. Let me know you are in. So, I'm still carving up actually from last week when I did mountain climb penny fan up in there. So I'm obviously carving up prior to it. I noticed like Saturday, still even yesterday, I was like, went out, had sandwiches and stuff, and I was definitely appetite, just like, my mindset was almost still in that place of, I need to carb up at the moment. And I'm thinking, I don't actually need to carb up. But I'm still in that, I was still in that space. Now, it was just an interesting observation because, when I speak to people and clients and they go off of their plan, or they say, I had too many carbs, or carbs often come in, I had carbs, and then it was just rubbish, and, the world is ended because I've had that. And I'm sharing this because then it often leads into a question of carbohydrates. Like, do you need to give them up? What does the research show on this? And I just want to break down a few myths on this, in that there's no doubt that a lot of people do find it easier on lower carb diets to actually lose body fat. And that's mainly because of, by default, they increase their protein intake, so you've got to put some in the tank, and that then keeps them more full up. That keeps them, helping them recover from exercise. We know that protein burns more calories to digest and absorb it as well. So you've got all of these things kind of working for you as well. And generally, more like the protein-based foods are less moreish compared to, say, high carb and high fat foods, which is something I'm going to come on to now. Because actually, when you go into carving up, if you do it in a way that, say, for like an event, performance event, say walks, runs, whatever it is, training, you do it in a way that's actually quite moderately low fat, because you actually want to fill your glycogen, which is a stored carbohydrate, in your muscle. And the result of that is actually that you should keep your fats a bit lower from this, keep protein quite moderate. And this is a similar thing in terms of what we would do for body composition, losing body fat and losing weight, for example. Because if, say, someone feels so much better, like eating a low-carb diet, that's absolutely fine. And actually, this is a good way, one way, of lowering calories without really having to think about it. For a lot of people, that works great. It can also help control inadvertently, like IBS issues, etc. Now, the issue comes in living life, because like I did yesterday, I went to a birthday party, and there was lots of sandwiches there and stuff, and that was the food, like a buffet, and that's fine. What do you do then? Do you eat before and not have them? And that's not always going to be possible, and maybe not even healthy, right? So it's down to individual, but so you might go, okay, what can I control in these areas? When I go higher carb, does it mean I failed, or are we going to use that mindset of what can I control outside of that? Well, guess what? If you normally eat a higher protein, probably more moderate fat diet, you can just swing that. And I say this to people who come from maybe trying keto and saying that really worked for me, but I couldn't keep to it. The issue sometimes comes from that when they couldn't stick to it, they thought, I might as well just go all out, and not controlling what they can. For example, if I lowered my fat intake, I have a lot more room for carbohydrates. And that's something that I do a lot. So if I really fancy a higher carb day, I can just lower my fat intake by default, without really worrying too much about counting things. And I keep protein very constant, because if I keep protein constant, I know my hunger levels are going to be pretty good. And then it's a case of fat, carbohydrates, what do I fat? Not one or the other, but you can kind of swing them around. Because if you think about our environment, and the most palatable foods are high in fat and sugar. It's not just carbohydrates which make us want to eat more. Like we often say, just eating all the carbs, like sandwiches and stuff like that. But then when you look at a really, proper sandwich, it's got butter in it as well, so it's got the carb and the fat. You might have cheese in there as well, so you've got the fat in there as well. You might have mayonnaise in there. So it's a bit, carbohydrates gets all the blame for this. So I just want to share this with you, and also a reminder that, is it the carbs, or is it your thoughts about the carbs that are the issue? Is it the carbs, or is it your thoughts about the carbs which are the issue? Because I know some people eat something and just go, I've messed up, I might as well push the F it button and just sod it all. When actually, when you look at the research, insulin, which is released after eating carbohydrates, is actually a satiety hormone, which means that it makes you feel full up. Now, this is where it gets muddled. High carb, high fat foods are really easy to overeat. High carb, high fiber foods, not so much. You know, if you compare like a bowl of porridge to like sandwiches, like I said, with mayo, stuff like that, one of them is easier to overeat than the other from a caloric point of view. And this can lead to carbs making us fat, or excess calories really making us fat, making us put on weight, making us put on excess body weight, and all of the terminology that we use. So I want to get critical with this because I see a lot of things out there that confuse the hell out of people. And it does come down to that overall calories first and foremost. Now, I just want to finish with this in that what to do if you don't really feel like doing something. And I had this conversation with someone yesterday and they were like, yeah, I want to get exercise to make me to that happy place again. Like, I know I used to do that. Morning, Heather. Morning, Karen. I know that exercise used to make me happy, used to make me do it. And I was like, okay, exercise doesn't do it. I never really want to do exercise. Is that bad? I don't know. I never really feel like I want to do it because I love. No, so I do want to do it because I love the way I feel after, but I'm not really looking forward to it, if that makes sense. This is like confessions of a coach. But I love the feeling after. I love the benefits it gives me. I love my calmness after, how I can open up to the day, and then I want to share this with other people as well. And I said, how do you feel after? I feel great. I feel really good. And actually, is there an unrealistic expectation that we should want to do every exercise session? Because exercise provides us with benefits, and it is a bit weird that our body rewards us after with these endorphins and everything like that, but yet we still have to put in so much effort to do it. And yes, it will become more of a habit at some point. For example, although I still don't want to do it, like I do little hits of exercise throughout the day, like little 1 minute in and out. And although I don't really want to do it at all, after I do it, I have so much more energy. I'm back to my desk, I'm like, right, let's go. And that gives me so much more energy. And every time you get that, I don't really want to do it, this is a great opportunity to change your habits, rewire the brain a little bit and just go, I'm just going to do it anyway. Because guess what that shows you? I can do things without relying on my feelings or my emotions. I can be almost act based on how I want to feel rather than how I currently feel, which is a really powerful place to be. So I hope that helps for the Monday morning chat. Any questions on that, let me know, and I'll see you soon. Take care.